So today I want to share with you solar's dirty little secret, which is astonishingly more than 95% of commercial property in the UK still doesn't have solar installed. So why are so many businesses still saying no to rooftop solar, even though it's the cleanest and cheapest energy they can buy? Well, uncertainty is preventing landlords and businesses from committing to solar long-term for various reasons. For many, it's not just about payback. A lot of people talk about payback and the fact that you can get payback in 5 or 6 years. But businesses don't invest just to get their money back. They actually want to see a return. And most businesses are choosing to invest in their core business activity rather than investing in solar. And so what we've identified is actually property tenure is the issue. Businesses are not staying or not planning to stay in their property for 30 years, which is a typical lifetime of a solar system. And John Lewis is a great example. They have over 500 buildings and a commitment to be net zero by 2035, but to date have not installed solar on any of their own buildings. Their reason? They get a better ROI over a shorter period by investing in other business initiatives generally aligned to their core business. And their finance team will not agree to contract terms that are longer than 10 years. And so the typical solar PPAs that exist today that are 20 years in length or more don't work for them either. Our solution is to provide solar as a service, where we charge for the energy generated to the building occupier. The unique bit is that we do this with contracts from as little as 3 years, compared to the competitors who are all going for 20 plus years. We manage and fund the installation, so there's zero capex for our customers. And they simply get cheaper energy from day one, making solar a no-brainer. So where do we fit in on the solar commercial value chain? So really our IP sits at the front and at the back of this. So we do sales and marketing to get customers in. And essentially, we can vet these deals and smartly price them so that we build an optimum portfolio. This helps us reduce the risk from the start. But then what we do is we also manage the risk on the back end. So we're introducing a new risk. We've got short-term contracts. So what happens if these customers don't renew? The energy that they're buying is actually cheaper than the grid from us, so it's unlikely that they won't. But what happens if they don't? What happens if they go bankrupt, etc.? Well, we've essentially got a market where we're able to sell that energy to other people. So we're always able to monetize these assets even if we run into problems. And this essentially enables us to offer the short-term contracts, which then drives a massive adoption of solar and our customers. We also create an installer marketplace, a commercial installation marketplace. So businesses want solar without the uncertainty, so they come to us. We remotely pre-vet these jobs that need to be done. We pass it on to the installers. The installers quote it up for us. We then take that pricing to build our model, and we give it back to the customer. And assuming they go ahead, we then go back to the winning installer. They buy the equipment, manage the installation process, and complete it on our behalf. So essentially, they get good quality installations on a recurring basis that has been fed to them by us. And we provide, and this drives a virtuous cycle of rapid growth with more customers in the middle. So essentially, our better offering with more flexible contracts means that more customers want solar as a solution. So we get more customers. The more customers help us build a larger internal market, which means that we basically are mitigating risk because we can sell energy more easily between customers. And this lower risk lowers our borrowing costs, which ultimately then allows us to offer better contracts, which attracts more customers. Having these additional customers means we also then create a bigger pipeline for installers, and this attracts more installers who then give us better pricing, which then gives us better deals overall. And we have a fantastic team. Sinead is an award-winning product designer with over 10 years in the energy sector, specializing in user-centric design, systems operations, and deployment. Simon is our software whiz. He's built large trading systems for an investment bank designed to manage the risk of a multi-billion-dollar derivatives portfolio. And I'm an award-winning serial entrepreneur that's built and sold a UK-leading SaaS platform, which we scaled to 24 countries. So when we look at the market opportunity, it's absolutely massive. We believe the UK market represents $13 billion opportunity, and there's a much larger opportunity beyond, with Germany, the US, Japan, and Australia identified as next great markets for us. But we're also purpose-driven. So we actually have a target to reduce carbon emissions in the atmosphere by 10 million tons or more by deploying solar. So we're essentially offsetting grid emissions. And that's a big number. And we need to act now. So businesses are looking for ways to go green, and our solution provides a viable option via solar. Tighter EPC regulations are coming. Landlords are being impacted by this. And our solution gives these landlords an opportunity to increase the EPC for free and actually get a return from the solar system. And energy prices are extraordinarily high and expected to stay that way this decade. And our prices are coming in lower than grid, typically. And finally, the need for green CapEx is immense. Recent research from Goldman Sachs states that we need $6 trillion annually this decade, and we provide a scalable solution. So when we look at our competitors, the standout difference is our short-term contracts. All the competitors are doing 20 years. We can do it from 3 years, and that really drives those customers. But we have a few other differences as well. So we're specifically targeting customers that our sweet spot is 100 to 500 kilowatt peak, which typically sits underneath where other people are doing PPAs. They're not big enough for them. There's too much complication. We've chosen it for a couple of reasons. One, it allows us to build a diverse portfolio, which actually lowers our risk. But two, it actually has less complications around grid connections. You're typically not running into problems where you've got to wait, for example, 15 years to get a 1 megawatt site connected. So we're able to rapidly deploy and diversify our portfolio. And then when we compare ourselves to the residential space, we have to install one site for every 50 that they have to do. So we just don't have to get as many bits of business compared to that residential space. So we're now looking to raise a £2 million seed round. 1.2 million pounds of that will be used to fund solar assets, and we already have customers waiting. More than 1.2 million worth, unfortunately. And the rest will be used to accelerate our business. That's essentially going to be used to prove out the business model so that we can scale this going forward. So now I've revealed solar's dirty little secret. It's time to act. So join us in locally powering every property with renewable energy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Are there any questions? One. Coming your way.
Hi, it was an interesting presentation. I have a question about one of the slides halfway through, the one with the more customer in the middle. Can I ask, like, what are you doing, or what you will be doing to get more customers? There's a specific initiative, and also what's the main objection they have, like, given the conditions you offer them? What's the main objection they have to what you offer them?
Okay, yeah. So the more customers is driven by the fact that we have flexible contracts. So customers at the moment are typically going and asking installers, for example, to price up a job. They then get the price and they go, oh, that's expensive. Didn't expect the payback to take that long. And a lot of them are just pulling out at that point. And so not having to pay up front is one benefit. The other one is that they don't have to commit to 20-plus year contracts. So they can align with our solar solution to whatever their business objectives is. Most businesses are planning on 5-year horizons, so they can align it to that. And that is driving more customers just because it's a better business model. In terms of what do they object to, we haven't had many customers say, oh, we don't like this. We are more expensive than just buying your own solar. So if you go out and spend your own money on solar, it's the cheapest way to get energy. And if you've got the money and you're willing to spend it, go do that, because we need more solar on roofs. But most businesses are not. And so we provide a viable option, which is driving that uptake. So the other way to think of it is 85% of the market right now will never install solar because of these problems. We unlock that for them.
In Australia, where they've got the largest percentage of rooftop solar, the biggest pushback has come from the transmission companies. What pushback are you getting when they're getting irregular power coming into their grid?
Yeah, so at the moment we're not getting the pushback. We're not big enough. Hopefully we get big enough to start getting that. We've got a couple of things. So we do have a battery offering that we haven't spoken about that can help offset some of that issue. The biggest thing there is the grid does need to upgrade, and we're typically sizing installations for on-site usage rather than for export. And so it's actually reducing the strain on the grid, not increasing it.
Any question?
Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Awesome.